that everything will be all set for us. So it looks like we're about to start, so here we go. Into game 1 on King Sejong Station between Kaelinheart and Griever. Have a TVP matchup. This is actually, I think, the most balanced matchup in the entire game. Terran versus Protoss. I think both players have the same, or both races really have the same likelihood to cause damage to each other, to hold off pressure. So I think there's a lot going for this matchup. So here we go on King Sejong Station. Spawning in the upper left portion of the map is our blue Protoss player, Griever. And spawning down here in the bottom right-hand portion of King Sejong Station is our red Terran player, Kaelinheart. Now, I have had a chance to play on a team with Kaelinheart. We did some achievement mining, if we'll call it, against AI, some elite AI, with various races, and he plays pretty solid in all races. Terran is obviously his best matchup. And according to Kaelinheart, I'm a dork as well, so hopefully the stream doesn't validate that, but I'm sure it will. So nothing going on too much early on. So a couple things we have on the broadcast that I want to bring to your attention while we've got a little bit of dead time. Thank you to the creator of the Kaelinheart modification. It's an observer mod that you can create games with. Puts these nice little logos right back here in the middle line. You'll see them on both of them if you select the teams. Actually, I think there's a... Yep, and there they are right down here in the player lines as well. Obviously, if you had people on different teams, you could set different logos. It'll tell us that we have a best of 3, what map we're playing on, what the series score is, and various statistics down here. So this will scroll through and let us know what our mineral count is, what our it'll scroll through and show workers and army supply. So standard gateway opening for Griever, and Kaelin getting the wall off. Got 2 SCVs down here on the wall getting the wall off. Barracks just complete right on time. One other thing you'll notice on this modification, we'll point some stuff out as we go along here in this first game. The buildings will show what is producing with these little overlays. So we've got an SCV producing here from the command center. Second barracks going down for Kaelinheart. And the cyber core going down, pretty standard opener for Protoss here at this point in the game. Griever's floating some minerals. I think he's going to come down here and drop a natural, so he'll get his second base down first. Kaelin sees the whole thing. Game 1 in a best of 3 between the Protoss blue Protoss Griever and the red Terran Kaelinheart. First unit out is a Marauder for Kaelinheart, so we'll see where this leads. A third barracks going down, so it looks like we're going barracks heavy to start for our red Terran player. Concussive shells on the way right away to support those Marauders. Another tech lab coming down on the other barracks. You can see by the production tab right down here. So it looks like it's going to be Marauder heavy play. Mothership core out to deny this scout over here. One stalker coming out for Griever to come in behind this Mothership core opener. Not a whole lot going on. You can see here's another part of our layout. We've got the concussive shells upgrades going to finish up here in about 7 seconds. So this will give you, the viewers, a good idea of what we're working with and who's doing what, even if I'm not on top of it to see it. So we've got a Marine and a couple of Marauders. We've got a reactor coming down on this barracks. So 3 racks to start for Kaelinheart, dealing with a little bit of a supply block. Robo coming down now, and another gateway coming in for No, that's warp gate, excuse me, that's warp gate upgrade coming in that I'm seeing here on the production tab. So robo opener looks like for Griever. So we'll see how that does against the Marauder heavy composition that Kaelinheart's going in with. Warp gate's just about finished up. Probe out here on the map with no pylons to utilize that warp gate. We've got these decals here on the map as well, and you'll see these on each map. One there, and then there's the tournament graphic here. So you'll see those, and the players can't see those. So to them, this just looks like a normal game on King Sejong Station. They can't scout and see what upgrades are producing or what. So the probe sees this push out here. They can't see what units are producing. So the probe's going to see this very, very Marauder heavy composition, and so we'll see what he does in response. Gets an Immortal out, drops 2 more gateways. One of them just finishes, the other one's about to finish. Combat shields coming in for the Terran player. So as he continues to rally troops across the map, the Observer is going to hang out and see what's going on. So here comes the push. Push into the mineral line. 2 workers, 3 workers lost. Photon overcharge activated. Marauders don't care about no stinking photon overcharge. Oh, good force fields. Traps half of the army in. He's going to lose a sentry. And they're going to go to work on the Immortal and get nowhere, and those shields are regenerate very fast. Photon overcharge still activated. A little bit of economic damage, but I don't know that the loss of units and his own economy doesn't make that a swap. So yeah, Protoss still up 33 workers now to 27 for the Terran player. Combat shields done for Terran. Griever's alright. He's getting his second base saturated nicely. He's got everything's full saturation on the first base. Perfect saturation on the first base. Getting the second base saturated now. This army should have no problem holding this push off. Photon overcharge goes back down on the Nexus. Kaelin can't do anything with this. Second command center underway at the 9-minute 30-second mark for Kaelinheart. Still rallying troops across the map. Still producing Marauders and Marines 2 at a time each. Photon overcharge still doing work. He's going to have to come back and regroup, or he's going to lose very quickly. He's dealing with just a small supply disadvantage, but the worker is the big story. 38 workers for Griever, 29 for Kaelinheart. If he continues to let the Protoss run away with the economy, he's going to have a tough time. Kaelin is here in game number 1. The Observer's hanging out, seeing the whole thing. Yep, sees all the troops rallying back here. Kaelin's catching back up in supply, but not worker supply. It's all army supply, all army all the time. Rallying some troops up here, keeping a few of them back at home. Griever's working on his upgrades, his ground upgrades. Got the warp prism coming down now. And I believe that icon is extended thermal lance for Colossus, so we should see some Colossus coming out here as well to deal with his bio-heavy army. Continues to pump out of 3 racks. Got the factory down. Getting the starport down for some medevac support. First engineering bay is going to go down for Kaelinheart as well. Extended thermal lance finishing up. Here comes the warp prism coming across the map. See where he's got this going and what he's going to do with it. Nothing loaded in it though. Usually you'll see Protoss load up some zealots and then warp in a few more once we get down here. So Terran's pushing back out this way, and here comes the warp prism play in the corner of the map. Oh, sees it right away, pulls the SCVs. All the SCVs rallying down to, I don't know where, right down here to do no work. Seems like he's forgot about it, Griever has. So Kaelin's rallying his entire army back to take care of not a whole lot of pressure. I would have liked to see him keep some units out on the map. Third base going down for Griever. Still no sign of a third for Kaelinheart rather. Still no sign of a third for Griever. He's going to run this 2-base play, I think, for all that it's worth. Took out the Warp Prism. No damage was done with the Warp Prism whatsoever. And he goes back to mining his third. So lost some, just a little harass, we'll call it. No units to harass with, but just the threat of it caused some production delays, some mining delays from Kaelinheart. There's the observer for Griever sitting right on top of the entire army for Kaelin. So he knows what's going on. 2 medevacs coming out on the field. I'm sure the observer's going to see it. Scan goes down into main. Sees the army. Doesn't know if there's anything else on the map though. Hallucinated Phoenix. Going to come take a look and sees there's no fourth. He's going to come over here and see the third just finishing up for Kaelinheart. So he's going to see the third, but an idle SCV and no workers going on. And meanwhile, back on the north side of the map, Griever's going to drop his third base, protect it with his army. One scouting Marine takes one for the team. Marine in the middle of the map, keeping an eye out for the main lane on this map. 3 Colossus on the map right now, to go along with 2 Immortals, some Stalkers. So this could do some work if he decides to push with it. Supplies are real close. 132 for Kaelinheart, 127 for Griever. Workers are about even, 50 to 48 in favor of the Terran. Blinks on the way. 2 more Colossus in production. One just finishes. Here he is right here. Blinks on the way. Rallying some SCVs down to the third with the Planetary Fortress. Good saturation. Mining out of the main here. Gets a scout off. Got another barracks going down. Bring us to a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barracks. A couple of idle medevacs over here. Doesn't have his rally set on that. Upgrades favor Protoss. 1-1 upgrades on the Protoss versus 1-0 on the Terran. That observer is seeing everything. He sees the Vikings, which 3 Vikings with 4 Colossus on the field. He shouldn't be too scared of that. Blink Stalkers will take care of that, no problem, if either of these guys ever decide to do anything. Just some spotting Marines out on the map for Terran. 4th base going down now at the 7 o'clock position for Kaelinheart. Blink's just about to finish up for Griever. Getting saturation on the 3rd. Pulled some from the natural to get there. Need to resaturate that. Running out of minerals here at the main. +1 armor about to finish up. Here's a good scan going down. Sees the army starting to move out. Sees that it's very stalker heavy. Saw some Colossus. I don't know if he saw all of them. Griever saw the army move. So he's coming over to defend the 3rd. This Marine's going to see it. We're going to get a pylon going down here right next to the graphic. Here comes the army being move commanded into trouble. And take out a few stalkers over here. Sees the pylon going down, cleans that up, but here comes the engagement. Vikings are coming in, but they might get a Colossus, but there are 6 Colossus on the field. He's going to get one of them, maybe. Nope, all of the Vikings are gone, and all of the Colossus are still on the field. Supply melting for Kaelinheart, up to a 45, almost 50 supply lead now for Griever. Just didn't have enough to take on that big army. And +2 ground weapons about to finish up for our Protoss player as well. So there, I don't believe, will be much more going on in this match. However, stranger things have happened. Griever has to know he's in command. He's got to know he's in a good spot right now. blinks under to take out that command center, and there's GG for Kaelin. So Griever takes game one rather, in this best of 3 series between Protoss and Terran. I am 12-7. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. That was game 1 of 4 best of 3 series that we have on the docket for today. So game 2 is going to be in Overgrowth. And we'll jump right in here if the players are ready to do that. We'll let them chat it up a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and get the game started. Okay, so Griever's asking for a 5-minute break, so we're going to go on a quick break before we start game 2. Let the guys gather and compose themselves, so enjoy this commercial break. Okay, so it looks like the players are ready to get going again. So we're going to jump into game 2 of this best of 3. Alright, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of King Sejong Station is our blue Protoss player, up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. This is a blue Protoss, Griever. And in the upper right of Overgrowth, I think I said King Sejong Station before, in the upper right of Overgrowth, trailing 1-0 in a best of 3 in this PVT matchup, is our Red Terran player, Kaelinheart. Okay, looks like we have standard similar openings to what we had in the last game. Our Protoss player starting gateway first. Terran player walling off with the barracks, getting his early gas.
Game paused. Alright, sorry streamers, I'm trying to figure out how to message Griever in-game with this match. Alright, sit tight, guys. We're going to go to a quick break. Alright, guys, thank you very much for that information. Glad we were able to sort that out.
Game resumed.
So here we go. Back at it. Resuming game 2 of this best of 3 between Griever and Kaelinheart. So thank you, streamers, for bringing that to my attention. Everybody seems good with what's going on. And here we go. Same opening as game 1 for Griever. with the Cybercore coming after the gateway. We'll see what tech path he decides to go at this point, because this is where he went robo in the last game. Kaelin going a little more standard with the factory immediately after the barracks. Warp gate technology being researched right away off of one gateway. I'd like to see him add a couple more gateways if that's the case. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go gateway tech here. Lines up well for either charge or blink research right off the bat. Wouldn't surprise me to see him go with like a mini gate, a 4-gate blink all in. Kaelin going Marauder heavy again, starting with the first 2 units as Marauders. Widow Mine coming up out of the factory. So for those of you that didn't know, there is a test map right now out there where Blizzard is testing the Widow Mine, believing it might be a little bit overpowered in this matchup. Right now it does 40 damage to units plus an additional 40 bonus damage to shielded units. And the test map is going to reduce that shield damage to 20, making them a little less valuable for what some called was a little bit of overpowered harassment of mineral lines. So this probe's going to see that right there. Going to see the Widow Mine. And the Marauders are on move command, walk right past it. I don't know if Kaelin even saw it happen. So more Marauders and mines coming out of Kaelin. Another gateway in production. So bring it to a total of 4. So there's the 4 gate that we thought. Blink is currently being researched. A couple of Stalkers. We'll see if they'll be able to hold off these Marauders. 3rd Marauder coming into the mix. Another Widow Mine. I thought this Widow Mine buried up here. Nope, he went right there. So that, yeah, took the shot on that. So there's the Photon Overcharge. The Marauders are going to hang out. And now Kaelin knows that the Photon Overcharge lasts 60 seconds. So see him probably skirt around this little dotted line for a little while. Kaelinheart working on a little bit of a supply block at the moment. And no supply structures in production. Another barracks coming down. And a CC coming down at the natural. Forward pylon over here in what may be the 3rd. Griever knows he's boxed in. He sees the Widow Mines around his area. Blinking in 4 Stalkers, or warping in 4 Stalkers at a time, rather. Kaelin's able to reach this gateway outside of the Photon Overcharge, which just expired. We'll see if he knows. Yep, he moves forward. Blink is just about to finish up. 10 seconds. He's got 10 seconds to do some work against this before a little more mobility. So Mothership Core maybe going to try to bait out some shots. Oh, big shots with the Widow Mines against the Stalkers. Took all their shields. See what these Marauders can do with shieldless Stalkers at this point. They blink away. Going to lose one. He's going to lose all 3 of them. But there's not a whole lot left. So all of the army now gone. 4 more blinking in, warping in. And they should be able to take care of these Marauders, but they still have these mines to deal with. And no detection. So the mines are going to go off again, and that one's going to hurt, and that one's going to hurt. Down to 2, and not a whole lot of shields left on those. Mothership Core coming out to do a little harass. Widow Mines are acting strong at this point. Now we're starting to warp in the Stalkers up front off this forward pylon that I don't believe... Nope, Kaelin knows nothing about that. So, it's in a good spot. This could be trouble for our Terran player here in game number 2. Kaelin's got a little bit of a supply advantage. Mothership Core's in a great place to blink up onto the high ground, up into the main base, just like that. And he's going to do work in the main. And here go the Stalkers. And here go the Stalkers. SCV's being evacuated. Blinks into the SCV line. 2 workers down. 4 now. 5 workers down. Meanwhile, Widow Mine's doing work down here in the mineral line of our Protoss player Griever. So both players trading some supply. Both players down to 17 workers. 10 SCVs lost to 8 probes in that exchange. I think Kaelin will stabilize here once he can get some of these units out on the field. producing 4 at a time. More mine shots here. 11 workers now for Griever. He's got to do damage with this attack. And here's another Widow Mine. Ouch. On some Stalkers. So these Widow Mines are doing some work against this Blink Stalker play. And that one's going to go off and take out another Stalker. 22 army supply for Griever for 14. I wonder if Kaelin really knows how much damage he's done to the mineral line, to the production of Griever. Because once he loses this army, there's not a whole lot left. His CC does go down. Oh, and Kaelin GG's. I don't know if he knew how good of a shape he was in right now.